Hey guys, so today we are going to continue on looking at isometric. So we are going to do some lettering, and like I said before, there are lots of different ways that you can do this, but we're going to be kind of paying attention to the way we use our grid here. So I'm going to create, I'm going to write three letters, or using my isometric kind of like point of view here, and they're all going to be 3D in a variety of ways. So let's once again start off with our palette. Okay, so here already I've got a pretty good palette going on here. I'm going to go ahead and export this as an image and call it ISO lettering. And so I'll just drop that on into my Adobe Illustrator. Okay. Shrink it down some so it's easy to see. All right, so I'll get a little close here. It doesn't matter where we start. We're gonna put everything to the side at one point. But here we go. Let's start off by drawing, well, just write the word ace, because ace is pretty simple. Okay, so I want ace. I want it to be sort of like in the, in the interest of simplicity. I want it to be like the sort of a single thing here, a single like square, diamond shape, to be the width of like our stems, our lines. So I'm just gonna have each thing be about 3 squares wide. So I'll start off with the letter A, and if you just want to kind of draw along with me, I can pull the stroke up a little bit. This probably needs to be a bit bigger, or like wider here. I'm using the direct select tool, as it were. And then I'm just going to draw in a shape like this. In fact, I don't even need anything like that. I'll just draw a shape like this. Just 2 little diamond shapes like this. And another one here. And another one here, or a square sort of side here that I can then duplicate. Oops. And another shape like this, right about here. Okay, and then one more goes across like this. Okay, so there's my letter A. Okay, and I'll do the same thing for the letter C. I'll just go across, in this case 3, so I'll just go 1, 2, 3. This will be a little bit simpler. I want the letters to be similar in size. Like all letters tend to be when you write something, write a message. Okay. You can kind of see, follow along once again, all the lines that we're drawing in seem to extend with like within that little range. Everything needs to trace along with the grid. So you could even kind of keep that in mind when it comes to, let's see, the letter E here. This might actually indicate that we need to be a little bit taller for everything, which we'll get into in a second. Oh, I think we got it. Okay, cool. Let's make sure I've got that right. Don't want to get too sloppy. Okay, there's that. And then finally, cool. All right, so we've got our ace lettering done here. So let's color this in. I'm gonna just go through and select all the top layers here. And once again, I'll make this my shiny side, my lighter side. I'll stick with this one right here. And then I'll select all the faces that are kind of going, southwest, that are kind of facing southwest, as it were. And I'll just select all these. Oh, I'm missing some for E. We'll get there in a second. We'll make this be the darkest side again. And then we'll get all the ones that are facing southeast to be the slightly mid-tone side here. Okay, and let me just go in here real fast and fill in these shapes. That's fortuitous that we ended there. All right, cool. All right, so we'll just sort of. Okay, I'm not sure what's going on here. Oh, here we go. Cool. All right, so we can sort of see that. That looks about right. This E looks a bit too long. Here, let me just come back with this. And no, that's right. It does look long. Huh, weird. Okay, that's fine. Everything seems to be in order there. Matches up pretty well. If it's not, within, an inch, it should be fine. If you wanted to say, for instance, like grab these shapes here and group them together, Control G, and just sort of like, kind of put them on the bottom. That way, if you want to like scooch it a little bit closer, you could kind of off the axis, off the grid, and then do the same thing here with like A. Just select all the shapes that make up A and group them together. Just so long as they, and then put them on the top. Just so long as they kind of still stick within that line, they line everything up. Should be fine. All right, cool. All right, so let's group all this together and put it to the side. All right, and then let's do this again, but this time we're gonna have them kind of on their edges, on their, with their the lines on the bottoms here. So I'll speed this up and just kind of follow along. Okay, cool. All right, so now here we go. We have these here. Now we're not going to color them. We're not going to color it the same way. We're going to color a little bit different because now suddenly everything has changed as far as where things are facing. So in this case, this is going to be the darkest side, and then now we have these like edges here that are going to be the lightest side. And even though, yeah, if you think about it, you would have like shadows kind of extending down, on top of these things, but whatever. Don't worry about it. These are midtones here. Midtones. Okay, cool. All right, once again, I'm going to go through and I'm going to group these together. Maybe just going to scooch them in closer together. And the color difference is going to be enough to... And as we can kind of like get in close and sort of see, make sure they're still on the grid there. All right, cool. And I'll group that. Oh, now here we go. This is what we want to watch out for. We don't want to have any of this right here. This is no good. All right, I'll just drag this back here to match up with everything there. All right, cool. We don't want to have any visible gaps within our stuff. Everything needs to be kind of within reason to be able to fit inside the isometric plane here. Okay, cool. So now there's that. And then let's do the last one. We're going to have it going the opposite direction. So once again, I'll speed through this. All right, cool. So here we go. We're going to, once again, color this in. I can actually just dismiss this altogether. And once again, we'll have this be our midtones. The faces are going to be a different color here. They'll be our midtones. And then these will be our highlights, or our darkest color. Same thing here. These two will also be the same dark color. And once again, I prefer the way these look with no stroke. But if you wanted to add a stroke, that's totally up to you. You can totally do it. Once again, I'm going to group this together. And so they still do have strokes on them, don't they? That's interesting. Does this one have a stroke? Which one has a stroke? Oh, I see. That's curious. Okay, well, I'll just once again, I'll group this together and I'll get rid of all the strokes, and we'll just now I'll group this together, bring it to the bottom. And we can group the whole thing together. Okay, so this is how we're gonna group. This is how we're gonna label this. Okay, we're gonna just bring these together one by one, or we're gonna line them all up. And we can just like put them like this. We'll just center them all together, and they're all the same. They all fit into the same scale, so you can put them like next to one another, and it would all make sense, right? It would all kind of be part of the same thing. But we're not gonna do that right now. We're gonna once again put our okay at the top here. We're gonna put isometric design to lettering. Okay. And I just wanted to show you guys how this looks. Once again, there's other ways of doing this, but I just did want to make sure we understand how we kind of approach this whenever we're talking about lettering. I'll put my name down below it as well. And then what we'll do here is we'll shrink this down some, just a smidge. Okay, and then from here, we're going to label this isometric top. And then drag this down. We'll make this the isometric right, because it's flipped over to the right. It's the right, no, left. It's the left side of whatever it is we're looking at. And then finally, we're going to call this one down at the bottom the isometric right. Okay, so this is our different viewpoints, as it were, of different perspectives of the isometric view here. And what we'll do is we'll change the font. Once again, we want to change the font to something other than Myriad Pro. So I'm going to do this with Century Gothic, bold. Century Gothic, bold. Okay. And once again, get rid of this. I can save this. Obviously, I'm going to export this for screens, and I'm going to export this as a JPEG with a width of 2,000 pixels. And call it ISO2 lettering, and then maybe last name. All right, export that artboard. 2,000 width. All right, there we are. Cool, awesome. Well, I can't wait to see you guys produce. I'll see you guys in class.